Premchand Roychand, the forgotten name behind the beginning of India's share market. Imagine today's Mumbai, on Dalal Street, crowded with people. Numbers are running across screens. Traders' eyes are fixed on charts. Investors are buying and selling through mobile apps. And every movement of the Sensex reflects the mood of the country's economy. But this shining financial world did not begin inside a modern building, a computer system, or an air-conditioned office. It began under a banyan tree in Bombay, where a few brokers used to gather and trade shares. The fear begins here, because today, crores of people invest money in the share market, but very few know who laid the foundation of this market. We know the name BSE, we know the name Sensex, we know the name Dalal Street, but we often forget the name of the person who played one of the most important roles in giving direction to India's organized stock market. That person was Premchand Roychand, who in his time was called the Cotton King, Bullion King, and even the Big Bull of Bombay, and curiosity is born here. Who exactly was Premchand Roychand? How did a young man from a Gujarati Jain family become the most influential stock trader of 19th century Bombay? How did he earn such a huge name in the world of cotton, bullion, and shares that he began to be recognized as the father of India's share market? And then what happened that the same Bullion King, who had earned immense wealth from the market, at one point reached a situation close to bankruptcy? Premchand Roychand was born in 𝐼𝐸𝐴𝐿, a Jain family in Surat. Later, his family moved to Bombay, which at that time was becoming a rapidly changing trading city. Bombay was not just a port. It was emerging as a center of commerce, cotton trade, banking, and shipping in British India. This same city gave opportunities to people like Premchand Roychand, but it also showed them the real face of risk, speculation, and market crashes. One special thing about Premchand Roychand was that he was counted among the early Indian brokers of his time who could read, write, and speak English. At that time, this was a very big thing because financial contracts, communication with British firms, and many aspects of trading were connected to the English system. This skill made him different from other traders. He was not just a man who put money into the market. He was a man who understood the language of the market. He stepped into stockbroking, and gradually his name started growing in Bombay's financial circles. At that time, share trading in Bombay did not happen on a regulated exchange like it does today. There was no electronic system, no app, no demat account. Brokers met each other, talked, finalized deals, and transactions happened on the basis of trust. This informal world was later going to transform into an organized stock exchange. The story of BSE begins from this very informal trading culture. In the 𝐼𝐸𝐴𝐿, a few stockbrokers used to gather in front of Mumbai's town hall, which today is considered to be around Horniman Circle, under a banyan tree and trade shares. BSE's history says that in the beginning, a few Gujarati and Parsi brokers used to meet in this way, and as trading increased, they had to keep changing locations again and again. Finally, in 𝐼𝐸𝐴𝐿, the brokers got a permanent location, which later came to be known as Dalal Street. In 𝐼𝐸𝐴𝐿, this same trading community formed the Native Share and Stockbrokers Association. This institution later became the Bombay Stock Exchange, which is today called BSE. BSE is considered Asia's oldest stock exchange, and its foundation year is considered to be 𝐸𝐸𝐴𝐸𝐿. Premchand Roychand is regarded as one of the most important names connected with the establishment of this association, and that is why he is given a leading place among those who laid the early foundation of the Indian stock market. Today, when we talk about BSE's tall building, electronic trading, and listed companies, it is important to understand that this journey did not begin directly with modern finance. This journey began with trust, reputation, and trading instinct. At that time, a broker's credibility itself was his capital. If the market trusted a trader's word, then even his word carried value. Premchand Roychand had built exactly that kind of reputation in the market. But his name was not limited only to the stock market. He also became a major player in the cotton and bullion trade. In the 𝐸𝐸𝐴𝐸𝐴𝐸, the American Civil War shook the world cotton trade. Cotton supply from America to Europe was affected, and suddenly India, especially Bombay, became a major center of the cotton trade. Demand for cotton rose, prices went up, and a cotton boom came to Bombay. During this boom, Premchand Roychand earned a lot of money, and he came to be called the Cotton King. He also had influence in bullion, meaning the trade of gold, silver, and precious metals, which is why he was also called the Bullion King. In that era, his name was not taken merely as that of a businessman, but as a symbol of financial power in Bombay. People watched his moves, discussed his deals, and understood his success in relation to the direction of the market. In today's time, just as market sentiment is formed by watching some big investors, a similar situation existed with Premchand Roychand in that era. But the biggest truth of the market is that anything that rises very fast is not free from risk. During the American Civil War, the cotton boom created a lot of money in Bombay, but in 1865, when the war ended, cotton supply started becoming normal again and prices began to fall. The same boom on which many people had built their wealth turned into a crash. Bombay's market was badly shaken and many big businessmen suffered heavy losses. Premchand Roychand also could not escape this crash. According to reports and historical accounts, he had created immense wealth from the cotton boom and speculative ventures. But due to the crash of 1865 and heavy losses in risky ventures like the Back Bay reclamation, a major part of his wealth was wiped out. In many places, he is described as having gone bankrupt or having passed through a bankruptcy like financial collapse. This was the same period when Bombay saw the pain of its first major speculative bust. This story is important because Premchand Roychand is not just a story of success. He is also a story of risk. He made money from the market, but the market crash also brought him down. He is called the father of the stock market. But his life also teaches us that even after having a name, experience, and influence in the market, risk does not disappear. If leverage, speculation, and overconfidence increase, even the biggest trader can fall. Even then, Premchand Roychand's special quality was that he did not end after falling. He rebuilt himself in life. Whether his entire fortune returned to its earlier level or not may have different historical interpretations, but it is clear that he made a major contribution to social service and philanthropy. Bombay's iconic Rajabai clock tower was built through his donation, and it was named after his mother, Rajabai. Even today, this tower is counted among the most recognizable heritage buildings of the University of Mumbai. The story of Rajabai clock tower shows another side of Premchand Roychand's personality. On one side, he was an aggressive trader of the market, and on the other, he was a philanthropist who donated to education and public institutions. He supported educational institutions in Bombay and India. The Premchand Roychand Scholarship at Calcutta University is also believed to be connected with his name, showing his interest in education. This contrast is very interesting. A man who saw the world of speculation, suffered the pain of a crash, and went through a bankruptcy-like situation was the same man who left behind institutions for society. Perhaps this is why his legacy cannot be measured only in money. If only wealth is seen, the market crash hurt him deeply. But if institution building is seen, legacies like BSE and the Rajabai clock tower make him immortal. Today, India's stock market is counted among the major markets of the world. Thousands of companies are listed on BSE. Sensex is considered India's economic pulse, and retail investor participation has increased much more than before. But this modern ecosystem is the result of the same historical journey that began with informal broker gatherings. From a banyan tree to Dalal Street, and from Dalal Street to electronic trading, this journey was not easy. Premchand Roychand's story is very relevant for today's investors too. Today, trading on a mobile app is easy. Shares can be bought with one click and sold with one click. But the discipline, risk management, and patience needed behind the market are still as important today as they were in the 19th century. If the cotton boom blinded people then, today's social media hype, quick profit, and FOMO can do the same thing. His life tells us that the market is not just a place to make money, it is also a place of psychology. When prices rise, people assume that growth will always continue. When a boom comes, risk appears smaller. When profit comes, confidence can turn into overconfidence. And when a crash comes, the same market tests even the strongest people. Premchand Roychand saw this test in his life in a very harsh way. It is also important to understand that in the beginning of the Indian stock market, regulation was not as strong as it is today. Today there is SEBI, exchanges, clearing systems, disclosure rules, and investor protection mechanisms. But at that time, the market ran on reputation and private agreements. That is why the need for an organized exchange was very important. The establishment of the Native Share and Stock Brokers Association was the answer to this need, and it took the first major step toward giving trading a structured form. Calling Premchand Roychand father of the Indian stock market is symbolic because any major institution is created through many people and circumstances together. But his role is remembered because he was among the most influential brokers of that era, and his name is deeply connected with BSE's early institutional story. He was the face of that generation that moved informal trading toward an organized market. His story also gives a glimpse of the contemporary business environment of people like Jamsetji Tata. 19th century Bombay was becoming a city of new entrepreneurs, traders, bankers, and industrial thinkers. Cotton mills, shipping, banking, insurance, and shares, all were growing together. This environment pushed Bombay forward toward becoming India's financial capital. Premchand Roychand was one of the brightest and most dramatic characters of this transformation. Today, when an investor looks at the BSE building or hears the name Dalal Street, he should not only see the index and share prices. He should also imagine that banyan tree where a few brokers began trading on the basis of trust. He should remember that era when Bombay's market was shining because of the cotton boom, and then the collapse of the same boom wiped out fortunes. This history is not just nostalgia, it is also a warning. There are three big lessons hidden in Premchand Roychand's life. First, financial market institutions do not appear suddenly. They need vision, trust, and organization. Second, making money during a market boom may look easy, but assuming that the boom is permanent is dangerous. Third, true legacy is not built only through earnings, but through institutions and public contributions that continue to benefit society even after you are gone. If today's young investor listens to his story, he should understand that the share market is a powerful path for wealth creation, but this path is full of risk. Trading without knowledge, running behind the crowd, speculating with leverage, and treating every rally as permanent are the same mistakes that history makes people repeat again and again. The market has changed, technology has changed, but greed and fear are still the same. In the end, the point is that Premchand Roychand is not just the name of an old businessman. He is that chapter of India's financial history without which the story of BSE and Dalal Street remains incomplete. He gave shape to the market, created wealth from the boom, saw collapse in the crash, and then left behind a legacy of giving back to society. He was the cotton king, the bullion king, the big bull, and also a person who showed that financial power can be as fragile as it is dazzling.
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible, but in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.